Chelsey and Brad say their marriage is being threatened by serious allegations. You see, they say social services received a report that Brad was molesting Chelsey's 4-year-old daughter. Brad took a lie detector test in their hometown, and according to him, he failed. But Chelsey doesn't believe those results, and they called my show for a retest. Take a look.
I love my daughter, and I love my husband. He's my best friend, and she's my best friend. They're the two halves that equal my whole life, my whole heart. I called the show because my husband, Brad, has been accused of molesting my 4-year-old little girl. It breaks my heart because he's always been a good dad from what I can see from him being around her. Brad and I have been together for 4 years, and there have been no red flags. I trust him with my daughter. My daughter loves him. In 2018, my daughter had been telling me that her butt hurt. So I asked her, "Why's your butt hurt, baby?" And she said, "I don't know, Mommy, it just hurts." I said, "Well, something happened to you?" And she said, "No, Mommy, it just hurts." So I took her straight to the doctor. They did a bunch of tests and checked her out, and it turned out she had crystal oxalates in her urine. That day, social services called my phone, so I went straight to social services. They told me that they had a report had been made that my daughter was being molested. They put me on a plan and did home studies, and at the time, her father and my husband was living with me. They came to my home twice, and they didn't find anything to incriminate anybody, and they said my daughter was in a good home. That was in 2018. This year, social services showed up and said that they had a report that my daughter was being molested. I asked her, "Is anything happening? You can tell Mommy," because she supposedly told my mom that my husband was touching her. My mom has hated me and Brad for the last few years and held a horrible grudge against us. At this point, I'm thinking my mom coached her. So from that moment on, I took her straight to the doctors again, immediately. As soon as it was said, they did a report and said, non-founded. Now, 6 months later, social services opened my door and put a safety plan against my husband, and so I let her go stay with my grandmother. My heart is broken because I have never been away from my child other than a week or so, and I just want her home. To lose my child is like to lose my whole world. Brad took a lie detector test already, and he failed. So obviously it scares me that something could have happened. I just feel like he couldn't have done something like this. I believe Brad is innocent, but if he fails this one, it's over.
So Brad, that's your wife on the tape. Why would you want to come and take a test after you failed one?
Well, I wanted a retest because I believe that I set myself up for failure in the first one, which I volunteered for that one also. I was asked questions that was specifically told me beforehand that this is going to determine to us if you are of the mindset of someone who would do something like this. Like, have I ever watched porn prior to 2019 and stuff like that?
Have you ever watched porn?
That's what they asked me, yes. And that was one of the very first questions. And obviously,
I'm just curious, how did you answer that?
I answered no because...
Well, of course you're lying then.
Yes, and what I'm saying is they specifically said this is going to let us know if you're of the mindset of doing something like this. So in my mind, I answered no.
Why wouldn't you answer truthfully though?
Because I was dealing with the police. I was a little intimidated because I didn't want to look like someone who would do this.
Let me ask you, did you molest a little girl?
Absolutely not, no.
No. Do you believe that your husband molested him?
No.
Now, he believes that your mother is the one making these accusations against him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you also believe that?
I believe that, yes.
Have you ever confronted your mother?
Yes, multiple times. And just days ago, I asked her, I'm like, you hold a grudge against us because of what happened. And she said...
That her husband died,
mm-hmm.
and he could have been there helping
mm-hmm.
him change a tire or something.
Mm-hmm. My mother called me and asked me if he could come, but he wasn't even with me for me to even ask him that. My stepfather, he was a great mechanic, so I knew that he could do it. He changed my tires multiple times, and
it's just a tragic accident.
Yeah, it was just a tragic accident. He forgot to scotch the car, and it was horrible, but it wasn't nobody's fault. It wasn't our fault.
How is he to your daughter as a father? Because he is like dead, right?
He's been there. He's been the main father role in her life since she was a year old. She calls him dad. That's her dad, and she loves him, and
he loves her, and he's a great father.
Now, your mom says the daughter told her that he touched her. Mm-hmm. Do you believe that?
Mm-mm.
No.
Because I've confronted my mom in front of my daughter, and my mom started yelling at my daughter because she said no.
But now he kind of compounds the problem by going to the police and right off the bat they ask him a simple question that, again, maybe a little embarrassing, but you should just answer truthfully. Have you ever looked at porn? Oh, yes. But right off the bat, he makes a lie, so it makes him look like he's lying.
Yeah, and before they even tested him, he went over the questions that they were going to ask him, and he told them that he watched porn.
So at no time do you think he did this?
Mm-mm.
And if he were to fail this test?
It's done. It's over. I done told him if he fails, there can't be. She's my main priority.
Have you ever touched your stepdaughter's private area for your own sexual pleasure or gratification? He answered no. Did you ever have any type of sexual physical contact with your stepdaughter? He answered no. The results came back the same to each question, and it came back that Brad did not tell the truth.
Serious, Bradley.
Babe, I didn't do this, man.
She really needs to know. What do you want
So,
to add?
Steve, the question that he was asked about porn is a question that surrounds the issue. As polygraph examiners, we ask various types of questions within the polygraph exam. There's questions about, is your name John? Are you sitting down? There's questions about issues that surround the crime, and then there's issues that specifically relate to the crime. Lying to that question would not cause you to fail the polygraph test because the examiner knows that that's an outside issue. Let me show you what happens here on his relevant questions. As a polygraph examiner, what do I see? So here's a question that surrounds the issue. As you can see, there's no big reaction. Here is a question about sexually touching the child. It is a very dramatic reaction. As a polygraph examiner, that's deception in a chart.
Do you believe he did this?
He failed.
I'm not asking you that. Do you believe he did this?
I didn't, but now I do.
You do believe that he did this. What are you going to do when you get home?
I'm going to get my daughter.
And what about him?
He's got to go.
He's got to go. Okay. So when you do go home, their polygraph was the first step, but I would certainly encourage the police, or you have to do it yourself, to get a forensic interview that people that are trained to interview kids and what has happened to them, so you can draw more information out and find out why this happened. Because kids can easily be told, don't say anything. And they're scared, and they won't say anything. So I wouldn't trust this guy as far as I could throw him. I mean, he comes out with that, oh, shucks, I didn't do anything, and, oh. But the fact that he's failed now 2 lie detector tests for sexually molesting your child, I would get rid of this guy so fast, it would make his head spin. You, I hope, end up in jail. You can get off my stage. But I am concerned with you. I understand this has got to be a big shock for you right now. And it's easy for me to do the show every day and throw guys off my stage and say, you shouldn't be with them. But this is your life, and this is your husband, and you live together, and you've been together for so many years. It has to be tough on some level to say, okay, I'm not going to be with you anymore, right? But you got to think about your little girl. I mean, other than killing a child, what's the worst thing you can do to him? What this guy is doing to your daughter. It's the worst thing that you can do to a child, is take their innocence away, sexually assault them that way. How terrified your daughter when this is happening to her. So what other feelings you have of maybe this and maybe that and maybe, no. you need to be really strong when you go home, and you need to prosecute this guy. You need to get your daughter away from this guy no matter what. Good luck to you. If you like what you see, all new episodes are coming, and you do not want to miss out. Click subscribe now.